If you're looking to make a change to get improved performance, improve your sleep, and help you with your weight loss journey, try Optimum Day and Night. Make a change as soon as you can.
And that's exactly why I'm so excited to tell you that Optimum Day and Night has had a major upgrade. And these have been a real game changer in my health journey. Optimum Day helps your metabolism burn throughout the day, and Optimum Night helps you get a really good sleep throughout the night.
And here's some real life proof on screen right now. Both Robbie and Michael Owen teamed up with Oxford Natural for their wellness journey, and you can see the results for yourself.
And remember, the supplements don't replace a healthy lifestyle, they support it. So if you're looking to make a change, click that link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen and get 70% off your first order today. Here we go for Guillermo Vicario. There's been talk about him all summer, and it looks as though the deal is finally coming to a conclusion. Fabrizio Romano was actually first to break this news, and he says, Juventus agree a deal to sign Vicario from Tottenham. Here we go. Spurs accept the loan proposal with a buy clause, not a mandatory clause. Vicario wanted the move and leaves Tottenham Hotspur today. David Ornstein basically just backing him up, saying that Tottenham accept Juventus's bid, proposal sent overnight, loan and an option to buy. And Romeo Agresti just gave us a bit more information, saying the fee of the buy option is set at 10 million euros, which is really cheap for Vicario. So that's £8.5 million that they have the option to buy him at the end of the season. Thinking about it, it's just like
Crazy low, isn't it?
it is like, in terms of these deals, like for Spence and for Romero and now Vicario, like, are we setting a bit of a precedent here of like being like, if we want a player to go, like, we'll just sell them for pennies?
It's just the price when we're dealing with all these brokies. That's the truth. All these clubs around Europe, you can't demand the same fees as you would in the Premier League. That's just reality. And we are to look at Rodri. I'm not saying, look, if he was to be sold to a Premier League team, I'm sure he would have gone for more than 60 million. And he's probably the best DM in the world right now. I know he's 30.
Like last year of his contract as well.
I understand that, but still, there have been players in the like look at Kane. He was 29 or 30, and when we sold him, and
It's true, but you
the
always
year
go
left,
for more if you were like a goal scorer.
yeah, but he's the best DM in the world.
Yeah.
I know Kane was the best striker in the world as well. I'm just saying, the fees around Europe, we can't really. If we want to get rid of these players, and no one in the Premier League is coming in with Vicario, this is just the reality. I think with Juve, they've clearly got doubts about him because he wasn't their first choice. They wanted Martinez, that broke down. They wanted Suzuki. There's been, I can't remember who else they were in for, but they've clearly not sure about Vicario, so they're doing this loan deal with an option to buy. I reckon, does Martinez only have a year left on his deal?
I'm not sure. I imagine so. I think it was 1 or 2. I'll check.
Because I reckon they're going to loan Vic, see how good he is. If he's no good, they'll sign Emmy on a free. That's what I think their plan is. And I think Emmy was a bit weird. There was a bit of a U-turn with
He's got till 2029.
2029, so that's 3 years. Oh, he's got a long time. Okay, so maybe that's not the plan. But I think
Definitely not the plan.
but I think they're not certain about him, so they're only getting him on loan for now, and then they'll kind of see how it goes. I don't think their plan right now is to activate it. I think their plan is they don't really have a goalkeeper. They're looking for an improvement. Vic's like sitting there. They're willing to take him on loan, but they're not sure about him.
Yeah.
But I think he'll do well there.
Yeah, he will do well there. Look, the reality is, there's a bit of a narrative around Vicario saying that he's a shocking keeper, he's a terrible keeper. Like, he's not. Like, we've seen it firsthand. He is a good keeper. He didn't have a good season last year, granted, and he's not the right keeper for Spurs because of the way we want to play. And Kinski is so much better for that style of play, playing out the back and what have you. We need a keeper that is comfortable with the ball at his feet, and that's just not Vicario. But in terms of just an out-and-out goalkeeper, shot stopping and stuff like that, like, he is a very good keeper, and I think he'll do well at Juventus. And I think they've got, if they do sign him for $8.5 million, it's a great deal for Juventus. I really believe that. And look, he doesn't. I'm not saying he's an unbelievable keeper. He comes with his flaws, but for a certain amount of time, for a period of time, he was like one of the best keepers in the Premier League.
Yep. There was even a time we thought we got the better deal between him and Arsenal for Raya.
It was very short-lived.
And there was a time though where we were like, have we? You know, we signed him for a bit cheaper, and he was at the beginning anyway. He was outperforming Raya, but as you say, it didn't last very long. But I think a lot of the discourse around him. And it's kind of like short-term memory in terms of last season. Obviously, he had that hernia problem. That must have affected him quite badly because he was making uncharacteristic mistakes, especially when it comes to letting in lots of soft goals, which for his first 2 seasons at Tottenham wasn't the case. He was actually a very reliable shot stopper. I thought he was one where you could really rely on him to not let in these really soft goals from range or anything like that. But last season, that completely went out the window. He was making really poor errors. And then the problems with his kicking was obviously still there. So then he wasn't kicking well. He wasn't making those saves that he usually does. Obviously, when he comes for crosses and his when he commands his box, he's never been amazing at it, although he probably improved over the years. But I'm seeing 100%, I'm seeing people on X, on other social media platforms saying he's one of the worst keepers ever played for Tottenham. He's awful, like so happy to see the back of him. Obviously, I think we can all agree we need to upgrade, and I think with Kinski, he's much more of a modern style keeper. He's much more what De Zerbi wants. He's going to be an extra player and build up, which is going to allow us to do what De Zerbi wants when we're on the ball. So I think Kinski needed to happen, and obviously he seems to have improved a lot of aspects when it comes to his shot stopping, so that's brilliant. But I think Vicario, for especially his first 2 seasons, was brilliant. I think his first season he was really good. I think his second season, up until he got that broken ankle, I thought he was fantastic, and then he came back from that broken ankle, was a big part of us winning that Europa League. Obviously made the mistake in the final, which luckily for him didn't cost us, but people also forget he made some big saves in that final, which ultimately we only won it 1-0, and that could have been the difference. So he was obviously a big part. And then even last season, yes, he had a poor season, but there was even some games I remember in the middle, like that Monaco game, where he made like 8 saves. And I remember there was a period where if it wasn't for Vicario, we were getting battered every week, and he was really keeping us in games at times. But then the hernia kicked in, and whatever happened with him, and he was having a shocking time. And then Kinski came in last 7 games, and he was fantastic, and we kind of never looked back. So, yeah, I think Vicario shouldn't be remembered as this awful keeper who was a massive flop. I just don't think that was the case. I think he was a good keeper who came in for a short period of time, and I think ultimately we needed upgrading on him eventually, but I don't think he was a bad keeper by any stretch of the imagination.
Look, I think he served the club well, always held himself, well, passion, commitment, integrity. I think his time should be looked back on in Tottenham in a positive light. You know, the goalkeeper that was in the team that won us the Europa League. You know, that team obviously getting broken apart now. Like, how many of the Europa League winners now have gone? You're looking at him, you're looking at Jed Spence, you're looking at Kuti Romero. Is there any of the others of that team?
Oh, Son's obviously gone.
Yeah, Sonny's gone now. So, I mean, he is part of that team that brought that success to Tottenham. So, you know, he should be thanked and he should be remembered in a positive light. But yeah, 100%, like, he had to go. He had to move on because the way we're playing now is just not suited to his strengths. And I always was worried about Vicario from set pieces and corners, that he wasn't the strongest at like commanding his box, and like there was a period of time where oppositions were clearly targeting him from set pieces. You know, you put it on top of him, and we were conceding so many goals that way. And he kind of did sort of work that out a little bit, maybe helped by his defence a little bit by giving him a bit more protection. But look, the guy had flaws in his game. There's no doubt about it. He had flaws in his game. But I'm going to remember his time at Tottenham more positive than negative, even with those flaws. So, but I'm happy he's moved on.
And he was always a guy, one thing you could never take away from him, he always gave 100%. He cared a lot. And he was obviously, he really ingratiated himself within the club. He really... Like his obviously his parents were a big part of away
That's
days.
That's what I'm going to miss
like
the most out of everything. His parents, brilliant.
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. Like he really grew to love the club. He cared a lot. He was really desperate to be one of the leaders.
Passion, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he was all in.
So I think he was a good guy. He was a good keeper for a time, but yeah, it's time to move on. But I think we'll remember him fondly. Where do you think he'll rank for you when it comes to Spurs keepers in the Premier League era?
Spurs goalkeepers in the Premier League era, so obviously behind Lloris, behind Paul Robinson,
Friedel,
behind Friedel. Who else we got?
You got like Sullivan, Keller, Walker.
I think he was better for us than Walker. He was a better keeper than Walker. Sullivan and Keller. I mean, Sullivan wasn't here. I mean, they weren't. I guess Vicario wasn't here for that long either, to be fair. The thing is with Sullivan and Keller, I was about to say they were part of terrible teams, but Vicario finished twice, 17th twice. So he was also part of terrible teams. Gomez, for me, Gomez was better than Vicario.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I mean, who made more mistakes, Gomez or Vicario? Probably Gomez.
Gomez made more mistakes. I just had a closer affinity to Gomez than I did for Vicario. Like that season that Gomez had when we got into the Champions League that year, that is up there with one of the best goalkeeping seasons that we've seen at Tottenham.
Yeah, he was absolutely phenomenal. I don't think Vicario could ever hit those heights, but I kind of feel like Vicario might have been a better keeper. I don't know. Those long arms, like they call them the octopus for a reason.
I'm going for Gomez over Vicario.
It's a close one.
If you offered me Gomez's best season versus Vicario's best season, I'm taking Gomez.
You go Gomez. But I think when Gomez was bad, he was much worse than Vicario.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So
yeah,
look,
so he's probably not
I don't
one
think
of the
he was in our top 5 goalkeepers in the Premier League era. He wasn't. So it is what it is. Let's move on because there's been some updates regarding Richarlison. And with Richarlison, SZY tweeted out this morning saying that Tottenham have rejected a bid from Everton for Richarlison, offer deemed below Tottenham's valuation, 29-year-old understood to be open to return. Jake Sanders from The Sun says that Tottenham say that they have not received any bids from Everton for Richarlison. SZY actually responded to that and said the offer was silly, wouldn't be surprised if they shut it down. So he's suggesting that an incredibly low offer has come in for Richarlison. I mean, what do you deem as like an incredibly low offer?
There's obviously the reports were, the rumours were, we're looking for over 35 million for him, which obviously given his historical injury record seems like quite optimistic. So I'm assuming they probably bid what we thought we would probably be getting for Richarlison, which is somewhere between 15 and 20 million. Now, there's rumours that Tottenham are looking for a striker. So if it means Richarlison moving on to get an upgrade and get a new number 9, then that's that. I don't mind. I'm happy with that. But we shouldn't be stubborn on the price. We haven't been stubborn with these other players. So I think if we need to move on Richarlison to get this new number 9 in, then that's fine. And I like Richarlison. I think he's had a pretty decent pre-season. His numbers have always been decent whenever he's played. He's always had a pretty good goal-scoring record. But I think we all agree that we could do with we could do with a number 9 if we can improve in that position. So if Richarlison has to be the full guy, then so be it. So I hope we're not stubborn on 40 million because I just don't think we're going to get that. I think it kind of depends how far along we are with another striker, how close we are, if we are desperate to sell right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of think that this offer is incredibly low, like even lower than what you're suggesting, because I think Spurs wouldn't reject that out of hand and probably would come to the table and at least, come to the negotiation. Maybe they have, and there's conversation going behind the scenes. But I would be shocked if Spurs got a bid of between 15 and 20 million and they reject that with 1 year left in his deal. We've seen the low offers or low transfer fees that we've accepted already this season for Vicario, for Romero, for Jed Spence. So it would be very strange and out of character if Spurs were to reject something between 15 and 20 for Richarlison, 29 years of age, 1 year left in his deal. It just wouldn't make sense to me.
All the reports are we want 40.
I know, but I just maybe they say they want 40. They said at the beginning of the window we wanted 80 for Romero. Like they'll definitely accept lower than that, 100%.
Yeah, maybe eventually, but maybe
but
it's
we
a
are
negotiation.
Eventually now. Like,
well, how many bids have we had for him?
It's not about how many bids we are. We are near the end of the window now. So
hey,
surely
you never really accept the first offer. Spence and Romero wasn't the first offer. I think that they were lower even than what they were.
Lower, though.
Still, they rejected them and then they come back. So I think that's probably what we're doing, and we're expecting Everton to up the bid. And that's how negotiations usually work. You don't usually accept the first offer.
Yeah, fine, but I would be shocked if he goes for more than that. Even like if he goes for more than 20 million, I'd be really shocked.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we're going to have to. I don't know what the bid is, but I wouldn't be.
I think the
shocked.
bid is belower than what we're saying here. I think the bid is below. I think it's below 15 million.
Might be. I would assume it's around 15 to 20. That's kind of my assumption, but it might be lower. And obviously, then they're right to reject it out of hand, and that's not something they should be accepting straight away. I think for Rishi, coming from a Premier League club as well, obviously we know they got a little bit more money. I think we should be looking for around 20 million. I don't think that's not a crazy fee for someone like Richarlison. Especially he's a fan favourite at Everton. They might be a bit desperate to get him back as well. They do have 2 strikers though, so I wonder if one of them, Beto or Barry, will be leaving if Rishi does come back. So obviously they might have to find a buyer for him. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one develops, because right now there's not really any. There's talk of us wanting a striker, but there are no really names at the moment that's with any seriousness that we're close to. So it's going to be interesting to see who that name is, because I can't see us selling Rishi unless that someone's coming in. Surely.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. So look, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe they are negotiating for a striker behind the scenes. But again, like we can't kind of bring in another number 9 with these 2 strikers here. Not only because of competition for places and having 3 strikers for one position going into next season is not sustainable, but also you got to look at the squad rules as well. You're only allowed 17 foreign players, and we're already over that. So we need to get players out the door to register new players for the new season. So if we were to sell, we can only bring a striker in if we sell one. That's the reality. As much as we all want to just buy players and willy-nilly and whatever, that's just not reality. So, and also Solanke's homegrown and Richarlison is not homegrown. He's a foreign player, so it makes more sense from that aspect to sell Richarlison and keep Solanke, but I would prefer it the other way around. I'd prefer to sell Solanke and keep Richarlison. So, yeah, we need to identify who we want. We need to know who we want before we can sanction a sale. But, we're running out of time here.
Yeah, we are. Not long to go. You would hope that there's someone in the mix. As we say, Romano reported a couple of days ago that Tottenham do want another number 9. So surely we've been identifying targets. Surely we're in negotiation with clubs. Obviously, there's still the secret bomber, which nothing's been revealed about that yet. Whether anything was ever true about it or not, we don't know. But
I don't think there is a secret bomber, man. We need to let this secret bomber go.
The secret bomber. Well, there's been no bomber ever since there was going to be. He said there was going to be a bomber.
This whole hullabaloo saying, there's going to be one in before Richarlison, and it's not Gakpo, and those are the only 2 names still that we got. So.
Yeah, still only Savinho and Gakpo at the moment. No, unless they're really keeping it under wraps, then we don't really know.
Any day now.
And look, for me, I think, Rishi's time's been up at Tottenham for a while. He's probably been needed upgrading for a couple seasons, but I do like him. I like him as a person. I think he's not a bad player. I think as a backup striker, you could do a lot worse if he was your backup striker. But I think right now he needs to go if we're going to get another number 9 in.
Yeah. I mean, look, I said coming into the window, I wouldn't care if both of them go. At this stage of the window, that's not feasible, particularly because Will Lancashire's gone now. Like I was saying all summer, like let's keep Lancashire as part of the squad. Obviously, he's gone now. So it's got to be one of these to go and one to come in. Like, we're not going to bring in 2 strikers now until the end of the window. We've left it too late. So the most likely candidate does look like Richarlison, and let's hope that we can upgrade on him and bring someone in from now to the end of the window. So, let's see first if Everton even are serious about it and want to up their bid, because I doubt we let him go for 5 to 10 million.
No. I reckon, though, if we are seriously in for a striker and it's like advancing, I think we might let him go for a really low fee.
Probably. I guess the precedent is there, isn't it, with the other players. In terms of Lucas Bergvall, Simon Jones is reporting that Bergvall still remains on Newcastle's radar entering the final days of the window. After inquiries, they were told he's going to be over £50 million, and Nottingham Forest are also expected to make another offer for Lucas Bergvall as well. Would you be totally shocked if Lucas leaves from now to the end of the window, seeing as he's been such a key part in pre-season and started the last one as well, which we envisage could be the starting lineup going into Brentford?
Not if we get the fee that we're asking for. I wouldn't be shocked. I think it would be sad and it would be a shame, and I don't want him to leave, and I'd love him to stay. And I think can be have a really big future here at Tottenham. But there's no getting around it. Next season's going to be difficult for him, regardless. And if we do get 60 million sort of that kind of fee, it's hard to say no to that right now. I didn't know about this. Apparently, there's some SCR rule which states that because we signed Newcastle from Tonali, they can't sign him till the 20th of August or something like that, because otherwise it counts as a player swap or something along those lines.
Where was that said? I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's apparently I was just talking to Josh before. That's apparently the rule.
Is he tier 1?
Yeah, he's tier 1. He's talking about the rules, SCR rules, which is why.
Is that an actual rule?
Yeah.
Okay, never heard of that.
Yeah, because so you won't get the full book value for the player if you do it within 45 days, something like that. So there's rumours that maybe Newcastle are waiting till the 20th of August to go for him and sign him. So I don't know how much truth there is to that, but maybe that's something to watch out for in the next few days. But I actually think we're going to be leaving. I know we got Gray coming in as another midfielder, but I just feel better with Gray and Bergvall and Bentancur all there as midfield options rather than selling Bergvall. I think maybe I look at those options. Are we leaving ourselves like just a bit short of quality maybe if we get injuries? I don't know. Just a thought I'm having. But
someone in the comments says that's not an SCR rule. It's a UEFA rule.
Okay. Well, so what? Does it only matter if you're part of UEFA? A part in a UEFA competition?
Yeah, that's what I think that's what it suggests. Yeah.
So maybe that's true. I don't know. I read it's an SCR rule. I don't really know. I mean, that's because Newcastle fans were talking about it on social media.
They're
not in Europe, but they were theorising that that's why they're waiting on Bergvall, because they're waiting the 45 days for whatever reason. I don't know. I didn't hear about this rule before today.
And someone says it is SCR, so who knows?
The chat are arguing with each other. I want him to stay. If we get 60, I think this is a player we should be stubborn on in the price. 60 million, or you're not getting him. The problem is if they offer like 55 plus add-ons, do you just relent and say yes? I think the reality is he has asked to leave. We can't forget that. So in that situation, if we force him to stay and he doesn't get the minutes he's happy with, then all of a sudden you might have a problem on your hands. If we do, back up our assurances and maybe he starts the season, and if he keeps playing as he is, he does get regular starts, then maybe everything could be happy and he won't grow disgruntled. But I think there'll probably be other bids coming in between now and the end of the window just to try our luck. But I hope we're stubborn because I really want him to stay.
And if we do get that bid, I mean, Alex Scott hasn't gone anywhere yet.
Yeah.
He's got going into the last year of his contract. So if we do end up selling Bergvall for 60 million or 55 million, let's go spend that on Alex Scott. Go get him in. Like, what an unbelievable replacement that would be.
That's why I'm open to selling him, because if we can sell him and get Alex Scott in, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
And obviously we're not going to get Alex Scott unless we get 60 million for Bergvall.
I wonder why he hasn't gone anywhere yet, because Chelsea were like proper hot on his heels, weren't they? Like weeks and weeks ago.
I think they're waiting to sell Enzo.
Oh, I see. It was all a domino effect from Enzo. And is he still staying now?
Well, at the moment, there's reports saying that City is still in talks with him, but we'll see. He got booed, Enzo, so there's a bit of a by Chelsea fans.
Oh, did he?
So there's a bit of a bad blood there. So they might
pre-season boo.
They might not want that to continue, and there's bad blood there.
But if Enzo Fernandez puts in some good performances for Chelsea, he'll be completely fine.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, look, the Lucas Bergvall thing, I don't think we've heard the last of it. I think in the next week or so, I do think maybe Newcastle, because neither Newcastle or Forest have signed central midfielders or enough central midfielders. Big players left both these clubs. You look at Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes and Elliot Anderson, and they just haven't got sufficient replacements yet.
But if the plan is just to sell Bergvall and not replace him...
No, you have to replace him. You have to. Because it would maybe be okay not replacing him if you get in a right back, but you can't have Gray covering, I don't think, the two positions, can you? Like, if we have Bergvall gone and you use Bentancur and Gray as the midfield replacements, that's not the end of the world. Two very able backups. But then all of a sudden, if you need him for cover at right back as well, then I think you could potentially become a bit stretched in that situation.
Yeah, obviously you got Gallagher who can drop him, but at the moment we need him for the number 10. So,
And Sar's still here as well.
Sarr is still here. Nothing. It's all gone a bit quiet with Sarr at the moment. Still rumours, still little murmurings of Villa, but nothing really moving forward with that.
I reckon Sar goes in like the last few days of the window.
Yeah. So I would only sanction this if we have someone like Scott lined up. I wouldn't want to rely on Graham Bentancur. Like, I just feel like that lacks a bit of quality, even though they're backups. I know we got Tonali and we got Fernandes, which is great, but I think having Bergvall there as well, I think on the ball keeps up that quality if one of those are injured a bit.
And also getting back into Europe next season, the benefit of having Bergvall and Archie Gray is going to be massive. It's going to be absolutely massive because all of a sudden the squad building is not an issue anymore because you've got them two homegrown, you've got Luca Williams-Barnett, you've got Mikey Moore, and that's 4 already. So, and Brandon Austin as the backup or third choice goalkeeper. That's 5 homegrown players, club-trained players that's just not a thing anymore. So I think the priority should be to keep him. But anyway, that is the transfer news. There has been an update from Jay Harris regarding the medical team, and he says that Tottenham's performance director Dan Lewington conducted an investigation into the club's injury record and has instigated important changes, including an increased focus on individualised player care. The squad will be split into groups of 4 to 6 players who have their own physio and sports scientists. The theory is that staff will be able to dedicate more time to each player and understand them better. This should help medical and performance staff to make informed decisions and recommend small but significant tweaks to a player's training schedule based on their injury history and requirements of their position. I mean, I would have thought that that should have been the case like beforehand anyway. It just sounds like something so obvious. Like, don't every player just have like individual training plans and medical plans and or is everything just put into one thing saying if this player's got this injury, he does this, and why isn't everything individualized anyway?
That should have been the case for a long time, for the last decade. I don't know what it's like at other clubs, but surely that just sounds logical. Each player has different demands. Not everyone can be the same. Maybe a fullback has to be doing more running than a centre back. So their regimen, their recovery, all their training when it comes to fitness and injury prevention can't all be the same. It can't all be uniform. So if we weren't doing that before, then that's been a massive oversight, and that probably goes down to who they're hiring as medical team not having that idea, or whether they had that idea and they were told no, that can't happen for whatever. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with the medical department, but I really hope. Well, I kind of hope that it is true what he's saying, because it kind of explains a lot of what's been happening. So hopefully that will start to change. But it's ridiculous, the fact that that hasn't been the case before. And I think we are seeing, hopefully, I'm thinking we are seeing signs of, in pre-season, us being super careful with players in the lead up to the new season. You're seeing a doggy being managed. Obviously, he's not been playing, which we're frustrated with.
Or training.
But maybe there's a certain thing they're doing with him to make sure he's ready for the season. Same with Van der Ven. He hasn't come back and trained. Solanke at the moment, we're being super careful with him. Kudus, apparently, reportedly, could have played on the weekend, but we're being very, very careful with him. So I think there are signs of us just managing these players in a different way and making sure that when they're back, they are back ready and we're not rushing them whatsoever.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see a much more kind of better process of how we manage these situations. We won't be going into every season with, we've got injuries now, but I'm talking about throughout the season, we won't see these mental injury crises that we've seen over the past couple of years. So I guess this is what Dan Lewington was brought in for. He was brought in to oversee and overlook everything that was going on at the football club, and whatever changes that he sees fit in the medical team was probably the first place to start. So let's hope it brings big positive changes for Tottenham Hotspur. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have brought you today.